On live. Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Todd the Bod here. We're live again on here on YouTube and Facebook. We're going to do some live protest coverage and things start to heat up. So thought I might bring this to you. Let's go ahead and go over here, see what's happening.
I believe you will post and back up in case that you see that's going to come in from the back and mark me inside.
Are you telling me you just tell me which of the response for that meeting you can come up to get one of these?
They can come down people and come in on the wood.
The whole world is watching. 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 The whole. Shame on you. Pigs go home. 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 Pigs go home.
9400.
Power to the people. Power to the people. Corporate thugs.
Stand by.
Level 2 come from Lake and Walcott, moving west. Securing this fence line for second down. Come from Lake and Walcott and we're moving west.
Okay, we need a move to go wait to walk up, we walk up center office. Also be advised, we're going to be out there approximately about 51 minutes to a minute. 9400 King. I'm going to tell you where to go in a moment.
You're protecting terrorists.
We're pretty tough with your hands on that stick.
Look at this.
Are they still marching and we're in their location?
9400 King. 9400 King. Go ahead and stay as close as you can as long as it comes back that way, okay? In route.
What did I get?
Hello, officer. Why are we here today?
Looks like
No comment. Are we having a good day?
Point the camera at me. Every day, 100 Gazans die for political reasons. That's terrorism. You're protecting terrorism. Stop the bomb. You're protecting terrorists.
Okay, George Company.
Stop killing children.
so we're still live here at protest at DNC. They have reached the perimeter there, as you can see. You can see my mouse here on the screen. They have took down these panels here. Took down the panels of the wall, and they filled back the room with the rest of them. So there's a whole bunch of police that ride here on the other side of these fences. Two or three depths of police. And they don't only have these fences, they have the other set of fences there as well. See what happens here, folks. Just good times all day. This is something. These are supposed to be abortion rights people, sorry, my computer. Move, get out. Sorry. Get out. All right, guys, we're gonna keep watching. So. Okay, guys, now you see there's a guy on top of the fence, and I have a funny feeling they're going to pull him down here in a minute. So we're going to see what happens with this guy sitting on the fence. These are geared up, you can see them. They're getting anxious. They're going back and forth. They've got their times and stuff to get ready. This is going to get interesting, folks. I've got my shake my wife just made me. Can you see? A little smoothie. We're on special diet. These poor policemen, you know, just happen to be out there standing for hours and hours and hours all day, waiting for these people just to flip out. This is good. What kind is this? Got wrinkles in my green screen. What kind is this? Strawberry? Strawberry banana blackberry smoothie with a protein shake in it. It's pretty good. You might have to go into business with these. But guys, this is getting interesting. This is going to get serious. Fix my camera, you guys. the guy go on the
She
fence?
lost 7 of her family members
Does he
overnight.
get down?
Just like it happens every day. It's become the normal thing. We have dehumanized them to the point to where Israel is their ally. I don't think so. They probably got so much blackmail on these politicians over here in this building that if we can't do anything about it, we already know they're putting them over there. They can't back down to the deal. So yeah, I don't know what to do. At this point, we're just trying to free Gaza. That's all. Like we've been doing for years. Take care of our people.
You want to bomb children, and these guys are complicit to it. Look how silent they are against it. These are the same people they're protecting to drop bombs. We literally fight against homeless people every day. We pay to get homeless people off the street of Israel.
Look at the veterans in our country, how they're treated. But yeah, we're going to send trillions of dollars overseas to kill babies. Nah.
We pay for their health care. We pay for their education. What about our veterans? What about our homeless community members? What about our health care? What about affordable rent? They got billions for war. Billions to kill children. Don't care about the local, the people, the U.S. citizens. What about us? Oh, look at that. They're waiting.
Keep on watching, guys. Stay with me.
Another day. No more money for the genocide.
No more money for the genocide.
Biden, Harris, listen up. Not another nickel, not another dime.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
No more money for the genocide.
No more money for the genocide.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
No more money for the genocide.
No more money for the genocide.
Shame on all of you. Pigs go home. 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 Pigs go home.
Biden, Harris, you can't hide.
Biden, Harris, you can't hide.
Stop funding genocide.
Stop funding genocide. Biden, Harris, you can't hide. Stop funding the genocide.
location again?
Warren and Wood. That is on scene. Warren and Wood. Charlie 101 boy, 94. They're on scene. Warren and Wood. Car 5. I have seen one. Just want to make sure that's clear for anything that's
Move on between April and Washington on Walcott.
yeah, they will watch our will cut. Yep, I confirmed that with them. 30 or a few minutes up.
1200.
1200, sir.
I need to know where the equipment van is. We need to restock some flex cuffs for one of the platoons.
Right, 9400 John was at Damon and Maple. 9400 John, do you have flex cup?
9400 John, we have shield and a rest kit.
Okay, that's what I'm doing. Damon and Maple, 1200. Car 5, do you want ISD inside or outside?
Right there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. On the sidewalk. Guys, on the sidewalk. On the sidewalk.
Right on Walcott.
If that's okay.
In Washington.
Oh my goodness, they done crossed the Caribbean. Hey.
Line here. Nice and easy. Separate the fence line right about 20 feet.
Let's mute that. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We're still watching the live stuff. I'm gonna keep this here saved, and we're gonna go to the day one of live convention now, and we're gonna keep monitoring the other.
Sergeant-at-Arms. Louis Terrell will serve as our book doorkeeper, and Congresswoman Barbara Lee will serve as our timekeeper. I'd now like to turn it over to my friend, Chairman Harris.
Thank you, Mignon. Hello, Democrats. The Democratic Party is 196 years old. It's the oldest active political party in the world. Every person here is a part of a movement that brings America closer to our goal of a more perfect union. And every convention is a moment. It's a moment that contributes to our movement. It's moments like 60 years ago, when Fannie Lou Hamer told the shocking story of the racist brutality she suffered simply for registering to vote. Or 52 years ago, when Shirley Chisholm ran a historic race for the presidential nomination. Or 40 years ago, when a round-headed boy from South Carolina, the same before you today, watched Reverend Jesse Jackson challenge America to hope and to dream. Folks, all of these moments led us to this transformational moment, when a black convention chair and a black DNC chair lead us in nominating a black and AAPI woman to be the next President of the United States. Folks, this is because the Democratic Party is and always will be for the people, for our future. We are honored to be a part of American history as we gavel in this convention and celebrate this historic nomination. I would like to thank the incredible workers at this year's convention, the convention staff led by the amazing Alex Hornbrook, and our convention chair, Mignon Moore, and my amazing staff at the DNC. You quite literally set the stage for us today, and we wouldn't be here without all of you. We hereby call the in-person portion of the 49th Quadrennial Democratic National Convention to order.
Please stand if you are able for this evening's invocation offered by Cardinal Blaise Joseph Cupich, Archbishop of Chicago.
Let us pray. We praise you, O God of all creation. Quicken in us a resolve to protect your handiwork. You are the source of every blessing that graces our lives and our nation. We pray that you help us to truly understand and answer the sacred call of citizenship. We are a nation composed of every people and culture, united not by ties of blood, but by the profound aspirations of life and freedom, justice and unbound hope. These aspirations are why our forebears saw America as a beacon of hope. And with your steady guidance, Lord, may we remain so today. In every generation, we are called to renew these aspirations, to reweave the fabric of America. We do so when we live out the virtues that dwell in our hearts, but also when we confront our failures to root out ongoing injustices in our national life, especially those created by moral blindness and fear of the other. We pray for peace, especially for people suffering the senselessness of war, But as we pray, we must also act. For building up the common good takes work, it takes love. And so we pray, may our nation become more fully a builder of peace in our wounded world with the courage to imagine and pursue a loving future together. And may we as individual Americans become more fully the instrument of God's peace. Guide us, Lord, in taking up our responsibility to forge this new chapter of our nation's history. Let it be rooted in the recognition that for us, as for every generation, unity triumphing over division is what advances human dignity and liberty. Let it be propelled by the women and men elected to serve in public life who know that service is the mark of true leadership. And let this new chapter of our nation's history be filled with overwhelming hope, a hope that refuses to narrow our national vision, but rather, as Pope Francis has said, to dream dreams and see visions of what by your grace our world can become. We ask all of this, trusting in your ever-provident care for us. Amen.
Please welcome Prairie Band Potawatomi, Nation Tribal Council Vice Chair Zach Pamami, and Secretary Lori Melchior.
Here we are together on our ancestral homelands of the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation and our sister Potawatomi nations. We also honor the spirit of the other tribal nations who traveled westward through this beautiful area. Welcome, 2024 Democratic National Convention, to our homelands. This land has and always will carry enormous importance to its original stewards, our ancestors, and our present-day communities. I am Vice Chairman of the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation, joined by Secretary Lori Melchior, and our nation's Tribal Council, who are also with us in the audience. From time immemorial, our ancestors lived in the Great Lakes region. However, in 1849, an illegal auction by the U.S. government forcibly removed our tribe from our homeland. Since then, we have been working to reclaim it. Finally, this year, the Department of the Interior placed some of our ancestral lands west of Chicago into a trust. Thanks to the resolve of our tribal community and the Biden-Harris administration, we reclaimed a piece of our home. We became the only federally recognized tribal nation in Illinois in 175 years. Together, in our homelands, let's have a joyful, historic convention. Blessings to you all. Miigwech.
Please remain standing for the presentation of colors by the Illinois State Police Honor Guard.
Detail. Attention. Carry. Colors. Forward. March. Left. 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 Colors. Colors turn.
Please welcome William and Charles Harrison from South Carolina to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please welcome the Soul Children of Chicago to sing our national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming. On the rockets wriggling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? O'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Right. Peace. Forward. Forward.
Please welcome Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Welcome to the greatest city in the world, Chicago, where Ida B. Wells and Jane Addams organized to deliver real transformative change across this country. Chicago, where Reverend Jesse Jackson united people from all different backgrounds to keep hope alive. And to a community organizer on the south side of Chicago, Barack Obama rose to the White House reminding us that yes, we can. And now Chicago, this city of hard work and caring people, is where Democrats will celebrate President Joe Biden and nominate Kamala Harris for President of the United States of America. as the son of a family that worked to make ends meet. I know that Kamala Harris, the daughter of a mom who worked hard every single day, she is going to look out for the interest of everyday people. I know that as a fellow former social studies teacher, that Governor Tim Walz will never shrink from standing up for our democracy and for those most in need. And as a black man, raising a little black girl on the west side of Chicago, I know that my daughter Brayden will see not only a reflection of herself in the White House, but she will experience the deepest part of American values. Think about it. What will it take to build the middle class and make it easier for families not only to get by, but to get ahead? It will take someone with toughness to stand up for us. And let me tell you, America, Kamala's got it. What will it take to defend our fundamental rights and our freedoms? It will take someone with leadership who would fight for us. And let me tell you, America, leadership, Kamala, she's got it. And what will it take to defeat MAGA Republicans and move our country forward and not backwards? It will take everyone, and let me tell you all, Kamala, she's got us. From Mississippi to Pennsylvania to Delaware, Kamala Harris, she's got us. From Michigan to Wisconsin to Nevada to California and right here in Illinois, Kamala Harris, she's got us. To the child care workers, to the tip workers, Kamala Harris, she's got us. And to make sure that this country ensures that families will have access to real affordable housing, to create a pathway to the American dream, Kamala Harris, she's got us. Together we can build a better, brighter future. And there's no better place to start that than right here in the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago. God bless you all. Thank you.
This is our town. We've got steel in our spines, iron in our veins, and hope in our hearts. We've got the flavor, the guts, the grit, and those big shoulders you've heard so much about. We're a bold city, a proud city, a who you callin' second city, where 77 neighborhoods are one. A city of giants, a city with heart. A city with heroes, a sweet, sweet place to call home. We were born ready, baptized by fire, tireless, tenacious, tested, trusted. And like someone else we know, when we fight, we win. We're ready to rise to the challenge, to rise to new heights. Rise, 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 up, up and away we go. We're ready to scrape the sky and reach for the stars, to stand tall for tomorrow, to witness greatness. We ain't going back. We've got big things to do, big shoes to fill, big dreams to realize. We ain't afraid of nothing. No nonsense, no fear. Oh yeah, we're ready. So America, welcome to Chicago. We've got our dancing shoes on. We've got our game faces on. America, we look like you, sound like you, work like you, dream like you. We feel you, America. We see you, America. Hey, make some noise so we can hear you, America. Welcome to Chicago.
my friends, my fellow Democrats, I started my journey to this stage in 1988. I was 12 years old, and my family was watching the Democratic National Convention. Now, to be honest, I wanted to watch something else. But we all knew when my grandfather sat in his chair, the TV was his. But folks, when Reverend Jackson came on, I paid attention. A black man from South Carolina, raised by a single mother. That was me. And as long as I live, I will never forget what he said. He challenged young people to hope and to dream. So that's exactly what I did. I dreamed big, I worked hard, and I never lost hope. When our power was cut off, when there was nothing in the fridge, when we lost our home to a con man, I never lost hope. And now, my friends, I'm standing on the same convention stage that inspired me, and I'm the chair of the Democratic Party, the world's oldest political party. Folks, only in America. And that's the beautiful thing about this country that I love so much. Hope and hard work can take you anywhere. You can go to college, you can start your own business, you can even win the Olympics. That's the America Democrats believe in, and that's the America Democrats are fighting for. So 4 years ago, my friends, we were a country divided by fear, and we were stuck under a man who preached bigotry and hatred. Hope was lost. But my friends, we found hope in President Biden and Vice President Harris, and the 80 million Americans who stood by their side. And now we are united. We're united in our pursuit of progress because, my friends, they saw us. They fought for us. They heard us. And under their transformational leadership, we have forgiven billions in student loans. We have expanded access to health care, and we have strengthened the middle class. But the fight continues, and there is still more work to do. You know, I know that when we elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they will build on our accomplishments, and they will create a country that works for every American. They will invest in our dreams and our futures, and hope will light our path forward. They will lead us in the fight for America, and believe me, when we fight, we win. And folks, we can never forget who we are fighting for. This election is about Americans who are watching right now, wondering who's going to finally pave that dirt road, or make it easier to feed their family, or get medical bills under control. This election is about those who believe anybody can achieve their dreams if they
They're just spreading out.
Judy, even before the DNC was gavelled into play this afternoon, the first major incident happened, a breach of the fence line to the north of the United Center. Chicago police riot teams have just now cleared West Haven Park, which is on the other side of the fence line. You can see there are long lines of Chicago police here now blockading the entryway to the park and also to the fences that were breached. It looked like this a couple of hours ago. Around 3:45 or so, there were protesters who broke away from the main permitted protest and managed to remove large sections of iron fencing, and they got into the secure area of the United Center, even though it was a one ring of the perimeter. They did not get to the front door of the United Center or even close to it, but it certainly was a breach of security here, and one that has the police superintendent and authorities with the Secret Service and the Capitol Police very concerned. There have now been at least 4 arrests, according to what the police superintendent is telling us, some of those who came over the fence or through the fence, and police quickly moved in. They had not been seen in riot gear the past 24 hours, despite large numbers of protesters on the streets of Chicago, but today they had no choice but to break out their riot equipment because they weren't sure which way this was going to go. U.S. Capitol Police with gas masks, Chicago Police with face shields and with their batons in hand. They are still here after clearing the park, trying to keep people away from the fence line. A little while ago, I talked briefly with the Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling. This is known as Park 578. This is, along with Union Park, one of the 2 that protest groups had petitioned and planned to either step off from or gather in after their protest marches. This is the one this afternoon where some protest members managed to make it to the fence line, managed to remove sections of fence, and then get on the other side, the United Center side of the fencing, and that's what has caused this kind of a response from Chicago Police. Again, the police superintendent tonight trying to regroup on this, figure out what to do about literally several miles of fencing that exists not only in an outer ring around the United Center, but several inner rings as well. The concern is that the convention is just starting tonight. Reporting live from the West Side, Chuck Gowdy, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Thank you.
The fence was breached about 20 minutes ago. People were just milling around, the protesters in that area. Now they're opening the, we're pulling us through. All right. The pinch point has been broken. They have opened an entrance on the north side of the fence, and they're throwing people through and trying them to get them away from the scrum that's occurring on Washington Boulevard right now between the police and the protesters. Although I have to say, as I look around right now, all appears to be, I don't see any active fights. I don't see anybody on the ground. I just see a lot of police officers. I see some protesters back there. I think some of the protesters have actually exited the area, so it's unclear whether they're going to be taken into custody. There's a guy standing on the fence or along the fence, attempting to climb it. Police just instructed him to come down and walk through the new open area that's been created to allow this crowd to exit between the two barricades on the north and south sides of the street. You hear some of the protesters who are yelling at the police, shouting, "The whole world is watching," as this unfolds here.
Thank you. We want to get a look at Nate's vantage point. Nate, what are you seeing where you are?
Yeah, guys, back out here live from our vantage point, we've seen at least 3 people be detained and appeared arrested by police. You see police struggling with one guy right now who continues to resist. There are 5 or 6 different officers trying to get him to comply with their request, which is to vacate this area, as Dane Placco just explained. In the last 2 to 3 minutes or so, that's when Chicago police rushed to the scene to evacuate everyone from the secured area. There were a number of reporters, cameramen out here, but as well as demonstrators. Many of the demonstrators, I'd say between 300 to 400 that had jumped this perimeter fencing. Right now we see police continuing to talk to a guy that they've detained. He appeared to have been holding some type of stuffed animal that Chicago police have in their hand right now. As these 3 people were being taken away by Chicago police, we saw a number of demonstrators knocking on the fencing, banging on the fencing, celebrating that these folks had been arrested. Again, we spoke to the organizers of these demonstrations earlier today, and they said, we intended on this being a peaceful protest. One of the fears here that is now a reality is the groups that have shown up without permit, but they've shown up, they've arrived to cause chaos, to cause disruption. You can see Chicago police right now, 8 or 9 of them, continuing to try to, possibly negotiate with this guy, but he is restraining. Again, they're breaking down more fencing. They're breaking down fencing as we speak. As we speak, a guy with a hat on and some type of blanket wrapped around him. He just broke a fence, has on a mask. Police are trying to stop him. They are trying to rush these folks. We are watching the scene. Chicago police are walking up. They're moving in as we speak. They're moving in with helmets, with batons in their hand. Chicago police right now trying to replace this fencing, which has been torn down. Again, guys, I want to remind our viewing audience, Dane Placco and I, as well as Joni Lum, we've been out here for several hours since early this morning. We did not see this level of unrest. We did not see this level of violence or even chaos. We are now starting to see this. The area that we're speaking of, again, for those that are just now joining us, is Park 567, which is located right outside of the Pilgrim Rest Missionary Baptist Church on the city's west side. You see officers right now trying to reattach this fence, but this group appears to be very uncompliant, if you will. We still see Chicago police that have detained 2 or 3 demonstrators, as there are hundreds of journalists capturing this moment right now. There still are, I'd say, about maybe 500 to 600 demonstrators that are inside of the park right now. Keep in mind, this protest and march that initiated from Union Park, there were thousands, and so the guidance that we heard within the last hours that everyone was going to march back to Union Park, and then that's when we started seeing the fencing come down. But Chicago police, the brave men and women of the Chicago Police Department, doing what they do best to patrol this crowd, to get everything under control. We're now seeing Superintendent Larry Snelling and his command staff. Superintendent Snelling here on the scene, talking to his officers, talking to his command staff. We do hear agitators screaming in the background saying, "Why are you arresting him? Why are you holding him?" Police is trying to haul this group away. It appears, though, that they have cleared the scene. They've replaced the perimeter. We are seeing now officers stand shoulder to shoulder with helmets on, ready to address any any folks that come that are not trying to do what the Secret Service and Chicago police have said. We're continuing to monitor this situation, guys, because it is not just breaking, but it's forever moving. We don't know if these guys are trying to break more fencing, but what I have seen in the last 5 minutes are more and more police come to the area. They're trying to replace the fencing. We are your local news channel, Fox 32, that will continue to cover all of these developments, bringing them to you live on air and online. That is the latest here on the city's west side. Nate Rogers, Fox 32, Chicago.
Thank you for that, Nate. It is incredible to see these events unfurl. Dane Placco is out there. Dane, you for a minute there because we could hear the struggle that was going on. Tell us what situation you were in and compare it to now. It seems like it's gotten peaceful.
Yeah, things have definitely quieted down. We are outside of that breach zone that occurred on Washington Boulevard. If you can see back there, you can actually see the west end of the United Center in the background there. We are on a street on Washington Boulevard, which is about a block, 2 blocks north of the United Center. As you can see, all of the protesters have now been moved out of that area where they broke through the fence. There are still some open areas along the fence line. Those panels, wrought iron panels, were removed. There's 4 of them missing now, 2 side by side and then 2 individually. The police have been trying to reattach those iron panels, but not having any success. So again, officers are now moving. Yep, looks like something's happening over in this area. Let's take a walk over here, Ed, and see what's happening. We saw a number of Chicago police officers. Again, they're all in riot gear, rushing towards this scene. And now they're beginning to move back east on Washington. I think most of the protesters that breached the fence have either been arrested. I didn't see many arrests going on, or just pushed back out into the Park 578 that's directly north of where this breach occurred, right across from a church, the Pilgrim Rest Missionary Baptist Church on the other side of the street. Perhaps you can see it back there now. Things have definitely calmed down a great deal. I'm going to ask Ed, my photographer. He was on the front line when the police marched up on the protesters, and the protesters were marching towards the police. Ed, what was happening right there?
Well, when they made their decision to begin their move, they just pushed their way through, saying get out, but there was no way to get out because all the barricades were cement blocks. So as we were trying to get out, they would push us, elbow us, and we were just trying to hop over the cement median, and there was nowhere to go. So they were trying to push us out to nowhere to go.
Was it the police officers?
It was officers, yeah. Okay. They were touching the equipment. They were pushing my body with their arms, and
they were shoving protesters as well.
Yeah,
I could see with their nightsticks, they were kind of holding them crossways across their chest and shoving them backwards.
And eventually, when they got to the protesters, they pushed the protesters right into all the photographers. So.
Back there, I see Police Superintendent Larry Snelling now walking, if you can see back there, Ed, back right through that open panel. He's walking along the line behind the officers that are now standing on the north side of Washington Boulevard. Their nightsticks in their hands, standing in formation, their legs spread wide, shoulder to shoulder, creating a police human barricade, if you will, on the other side of this fence. Because they still have at least 4 panels, 4 of the wrought iron panels that are missing from the fence. And if people wanted to try to push their way through again, they could, but they would encounter the police immediately. Again, these police rolled up about 15 minutes ago. The breach occurred about a half hour ago. And initially, the police were allowing the protesters to just stand on Washington Boulevard and make their noise, and then we saw a phalanx of Chicago police officers in riot gear approaching from the east about a block away, actually running down the street in formation and slowing down, and then taking instructions from their commanding officer before engaging with the crowd. The big problem in getting everybody out of here, guys, is that there was no the concrete barricades you see down there, and with the metal panels, even with ones that were open, there was no way to get through those that area. There was also a lot of protesters standing on the other side of the fence who were blocking any egress from the area. We had police administration, police spokespeople shouting at us, telling us to remove from the area. And we did as best we could, but we were blocked from exiting the area temporarily by all the protesters on the other side, some of whom were throwing objects, and we saw some cans, and no bottles, but cans and signs being thrown. So let's take a look around right now. Again, this is Park 578. This is one of the parks that had been designated for speakers. A stage had been set up here. This was going to be a stopping point for the march as it went from Union Park about 3 blocks to the east. They were going to come down this way, actually over a block north of here on Maypole, but they evidently came across the park, and then some people began pulling out some of those fence panels. I hear that people had hammers or had some equipment in bags that they were carrying with them, and may have used that to dislodge some of the metal gratework here. But again, all the people are back in the park. The police are standing at attention, and Superintendent Snelling is walking back and forth, surveying the situation. All the protesters appear to have been removed from the breached area now. They're walking back in towards the park, and we don't know whether there are any arrests made. We do know I saw a couple of protesters on the ground being held by police, but I didn't see any wagons show up or anybody physically removed from the site. That's the situation right here. I'm going to throw it back to you.
We want to get back to some breaking news right now from the near west side. We understand protesters may have breached an exterior perimeter near the United Center.
Sean Lewis is there now. Are you able to tell us what's going on? Are you in a safe position to do so?
Yeah, we are actually just a few meters away from where we were just live about 10 minutes ago. This is what they call Park 578. This is where the middle part of that rally was taking place. Most of the protesters are already moving on, but you take a look right here. This is Maypole, right, or Washington Street. I'm sorry about that, Washington. This is those fences that they put up here that you see around town when big events are happening, like at Lollapalooza. They had that. Now the protesters have breached that in several different locations, have spilled over here to Washington, and now they're standing at this secondary fence. You have U.S. Secret Service, you have Chicago police standing here against this less than secure fence that is held together only by this one padlock here. Don't know what the intentions of these protesters are, other than to just get a little bit more space for themselves. They don't seem to be trying to get beyond this one fence. Now we have this fence. We have several other fences in the security perimeter here that go before they get to the United Center. Right now we are seeing some people still leaving here right now because, again, that protest that we showed you just a few minutes ago, most of them have moved on. You're talking about roughly 400 of the protesters of the couple thousand that we've seen here. So what we are trying to ascertain is how this breach originally happened. Because, again, Joe Lynn, why don't you come over here with me really quick, and we'll show you here. We have several sections of this security fence that have been taken down and are lying strewn about here. Who took these down, how it started, we do not know. But we are going to try to ask some questions, get some details from perhaps the police on the scene here, if we can, or some of the protesters, and we'll report back to you. But for now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Sean, we'll check back with you shortly. Thank you.
And back out to live again Thousands have landed here to Park 78 on the city's west side. It took about an hour or so for them to march to this location following a nearly 2-hour rally that kicked off at Union Park about 1 o'clock this afternoon. You can see it right now. Demonstrators are now tearing fencing down. This is the first that we're seeing. You see it right here live on air. These demonstrators have torn the fencing down. They're now trying to hop over the fence. But on the other side of the fence right now, you do see security that have lined this perimeter. We see a number of Chicago police. We see Secret Service agents. We also see what we believe are out-of-state police. Again, this is the secure perimeter that is right outside of the United Center. The group landed here within the last 20 minutes or so. There are thousands that are part of this demonstration that's taking place today. And everything, for the most part, has remained peaceful. I will tell you, this is the first time that we've seen any type of disorder. You see a gentleman right now climbing on top of one of the concrete beams here. Again, someone has blown down one of the fences, but as we look across the street, police do not seem bothered. They are continuing to monitor the situation as you continue to hear those chants. Now, we did hear within the last 10 minutes that the group was going to head back to Union Park where this protest originated, but there seems to be many folks that are still staying behind. They are chanting "Our streets, no justice, no peace." Again, this is the scene here outside of the United Center perimeter. We will continue to monitor this situation. Earlier, about a little bit over an hour ago, we did hear from Police Superintendent Larry Snelling, who said, "We have no fear," quote, "there has been no issues." That was about an hour ago, but we are seeing what appears to be some agitators now, again, climb over the fencing. Some folks even shaking the fencing. They're throwing rocks. My security guard is telling me now. And so just so we can get to a safe location, guys, we're going to back up a little bit, but we will continue to monitor this situation, keep you posted on air and online. You see it here live on our air. Demonstrators trying to break through the fencing outside of the United Center perimeter. That's the latest here on the west side. Nate Rogers, Fox 32 Chicago.
All right.
Let's go back out to Dave Savini. He is following the breach of a fence near the United Center. Dave?
We're going to be ready to bolt that way because everybody starts jumping right now.
We are working to get Dave. As you see here, this is a very fluid situation. We believe he's back on Washington, and I assume that he is over to the side here with some other media. Dave, just start talking if you can hear us, and you're in a position to do so that's safe. It looks to me, Jim, as if this is a media group that may have gotten ahead of the demonstration as it continues to move back toward Union Park.
All right.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm here.
Go ahead.
I can hear you. Let me know. All right, guys. So what's happened is a bunch of these fences have been torn down. You have police preparing to walk down the center of these two sets of gates. I think you can see both sets of gates. I'm at an area that has been breached. They're coming to control the crowd that got through. Now, this does not appear to be the protest group from earlier. This is like a faction that showed up, agitating. I'm sorry, say that, Marie?
Go ahead, Dave.
Pictures do the talking for the moment. We got a police helicopter above us. Yeah. So, Chicago police, it appears, it's hard for me to see right now. There's a wall of...
Let's go to Charlie DeMar. Charlie is at the Damon stop on the green line. Charlie, what do you see?
And Jim, right now the protest is actually going right below us. You can see Chicago police, they have been lining the route as they have for much of the day. The protesters making their way down Damon, they're expected to turn on Lake. But what has caught our eye in the last 5-10 minutes or so, there is a line of CPD officers in the distance as these protesters are turning. And then just beyond them, very far in the distance, you see a group of officers in blue helmets. They have just ran to cars and getting dressed in their riot gear. We have just seen them standing by. We have not seen them jumping into action. We, of course, will keep an eye on if they do get involved in this protest, guys.
All right, Charlie, thanks. Let's go back out to Joe and Erica at the United Center.
All right, Jim, Marie, Charlie, Dave, thank you for your coverage. We'll take it from here.
Coming up on CBS News Chicago at 5 o'clock, we will continue to cover what you've been watching here over the last few minutes. We'll monitor this breaking news outside the United Center where protesters have managed to get through a fence, a first line of defense around the perimeter here at the United Center. The latest on that story and much more ahead.
Probably things have calmed down considerably here over the past half hour or so, but with good reason. There has been a flood of Chicago police backed up by Secret Service and U.S. Capitol Police as well. You see the line of Chicago police riot-equipped officers, and just to the left there is the police superintendent, Larry Snelling, who is out here personally in command of this scene. This was a serious situation just a short time ago at the conclusion of the march from Union Park. Some of the protesters broke off and came to this area just north of the United Center, and I'll show you exactly what they did here. They essentially took one piece of this fencing and removed it and breached this fence line. Then they took down a couple of others. Then they moved into this secured area. While there are other fences between here and the front door of the United Center, nevertheless, it was a breach, and it was a serious one. And the police came in and they took some people into custody. They have restored not only the peace, but they have restored the fence line as well. But they have also called in additional reinforcements. As you can see, this is the United States Capitol Police with ballistic shields, face guards. They are very adept at situations like this for obvious reasons, most well known as January 6th. And these backup riot-equipped officers arrived 15 minutes ago and are now moving to the scene as well because they want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. The problem here is that this fence line exists all the way around the United Center. Not just one fence line, but a couple of them beyond this. And so at this hour, you have to imagine that Chicago police officials are trying to figure out how to secure all of the fence lines to prevent this kind of a thing from happening again, because these are all individual pieces of fencing that can be lifted up and moved, even though they're heavy. The protesters, initially at least, outnumbered the police here, and that's how they were able to accomplish this. That is certainly not the case now. The ranks of protesters has thinned out, and probably 5 or 6 times the number of police officers here as protesters, and the protest groups are thinning out as well and leaving, heading back to Union Park, it would seem.
So, Chuck, you talked about reinforcement of law enforcement officers, but were they able to reinforce the gate that had been breached around the United Center? Were they able to put more up, some stronger gates around it?
No, they really haven't been able to do that. Theoretically, these gates should be fine. I mean, they're very heavy. They're iron gates. They're intended for this type of thing. But the fact is that there are many more pieces of gates than there are police officers to sit on each particular gate. But the police are going to have to figure out how to deal with this because these are removable. I mean, these aren't here all the time on Washington or Randolph or any of the streets around the United Center. So they're going to have to figure out either how to reinforce these or how to flood the zone with more police officers at times that they think there may be an issue. Or they would just block the streets off even to get to the perimeter here.
Chuck, it's interesting. Just over your shoulder, of course, is the police superintendent, Larry Snelling, right there. And you can see a rather stern look on his face, a man who is in command of what you called a very serious situation. We saw how surprising it was. Yes, maybe you can get a question from him.
What's the plan to prevent this from happening again?
Well, that's something that we're going to have to assess.
I mean,
we need to assess that.
Is the fencing sufficient, or
we need to assess that? That's an assessment we're going to make once we clear everything.
Superintendent, you trained how many people from this location?
4. Here's what we need to do. I need you guys just to back up, please, because we're going to start now moving along this fence. We need to get our officers in here. We appreciate the coverage, but we want to make sure that you're safe also. So please, if you can, I just need you to step back off of this fencing until our officers start to clear this part.
Did you say 4 arrested?
4, that's right.
Thank you.
So, Chuck, the convention officially got underway. The gavel was drawn at 5:15. In a minute, President Biden should be coming here to the United Center for the evening, and some of the other guests who are speaking from the podium tonight. Is there a big concern about President Biden and First Lady Dr. Joe Biden coming in a matter of an hour or so?
I don't get the impression from anybody here that there's a specific concern to anybody in this group actually breaching the front door of the United Center and then getting onto the podium and the stage. No. However, any breach is an issue, and the police superintendent just said they need to reevaluate this because any breach is not a good one, especially when the police superintendent is concerned and has knowledge of all of these dignitaries, elected officials, including the president, the presidential candidates, the vice presidential candidate. It could certainly be an issue, but I don't think anybody is concerned about the front door of the United Center being breached. They just need to figure this out.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago Eyewitness News.
Good evening. Welcome to day 1 of the Democratic National Convention from the United Center here in Chicago. I'm Micah Mater.
And I'm Tamon Bradley. Thanks for joining us. This is a night more than a year in the making. The theme for tonight, For the People.
That's right. But first, we do have to tell you about breaking news from right outside the United Center.
And with joy. Our theme tonight is For the People. We'll hear from union leaders, civil rights advocates, and our fellow citizens. And we'll hear from our president, Joe Biden, who has been a champion for the people for his entire life. My name in the Ojibwe language is Iji Wewadam Ukwe.
Good evening. Welcome to day 1 of the Democratic.
Speaks with a clear and loud voice, woman. I'm a member of the White Earth Nation, and my family is the Wolf Clan. And the role of our clan is to ensure that we never leave anyone behind. That's why I am supporting Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to be the next president and vice president of the United States. For almost 6 years, I've worked side by side with Governor Walz. I've seen how hard he's worked for Minnesota to be the best place for kids to grow up. He does it all with a big heart, a buffalo plaid jacket, and a bottomless bag of snacks. Nutter Butters, cheese curds, and Diet Dew. Every time we meet, he brings something for me, because he's always got my back. And when he's vice president, he will always have yours. He and Kamala Harris have spent their lives fighting for you, for your family, for your future. So whether you're a lifelong Democrat or just tuning in, thank you for being part of this evening. 4 years ago, the COVID pandemic upended our lives. My brother Ron was the second person to die of COVID in the state of Tennessee. We couldn't see him. We couldn't have a memorial. And millions of American families went through the same thing. Our communities were suffering. Our economy was struggling. And Donald Trump was playing games. Our country was brought to the brink by his failure to respond. But the Biden-Harris administration stepped in with quick and decisive action. They contained the virus, created millions of jobs, and invested in our nation's future. Under their leadership, America began to heal.
Are there words about a pandemic at this point?
No, we're not at all. We have it totally under control.
We think we have it very well under control. We pretty much shut it down.
A lot of people think that goes away in April with the heat. We're in very good shape. Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low.
View this the same as the flu. It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear. We all together have done a very good job.
We think the death will be at a very low number. I see the disinfectant. Is there a way we can do something like that? By injection inside or almost a cleaning.
I'm taking it. Hydroxychloroquine. When? Right now, yeah. You can test too much. You do know that. Who says that? Oh, just read the manuals, read the books. Manuals? Read the What books. manual? I think it's under control. I'll tell you what. How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day. They are dying. That's true. It is what it is.
Help is on the way, and it is long overdue.
The $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill to get stimulus aid directly to struggling Americans.
Our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all.
Tonight, the U.S. is nearing a major milestone in the fight against the coronavirus. The U.S. is about to deliver the 200th million COVID shots since President Biden took office, beating his target by about a week.
Millions of American students returned to school earlier this month after more than a year of remote learning.
Sports venues are filling up and concerts are getting scheduled.
I'm feeling great. Business is definitely ramped up.
I'm so thankful.
To be able to serve our customers again after all this, it's a blessing.
Illinois Representative Lauren Underwood.
COVID was the worst public health crisis in a century. Donald Trump failed us. But Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got it under control. Donald Trump said, "It is what it is." Joe Biden and Kamala Harris said, "Help is on the way." Democrats in Congress tried to lower the cost of health care. Donald Trump tried to take our health care away. We tried to expand Social Security and Medicare. Donald Trump tried to cut them year after year after year. He took the COVID crisis and turned it into a catastrophe. We can never let him be our president again. As a registered nurse, I care deeply about making health care more affordable. As someone with a pre-existing condition, I am determined to protect the people who are most at risk. And as the youngest Black woman ever elected to Congress, I am painfully aware that Black women, especially pregnant women and new moms, were more likely to die from COVID. I wrote the Momnibus,
to protect those women and to address the maternal health crisis. And that bill was introduced and championed by Senator Kamala Harris. Because she protects the people who are most vulnerable. She's done it for her whole career. As Vice President, she and President Biden passed my legislation to make health care more affordable. And now, 4 out of 5 Americans can get covered through the Affordable Care Act for $10 or less per month. And under the Biden-Harris administration, the number of uninsured Americans hit an all-time low. 4 years ago, it was not safe to hold a convention like this. But tonight, thousands have gathered in this arena in my home state of Illinois to make sure Kamala Harris is the next president of the United States. We have come so far these past 4 years, and we're not going back. Thank you.
My name is Rich Logis. I live in Florida, and until 2 years ago, I was a full-fledged member of MAGA. I believed Trump. I was a MAGA pundit. I had my own podcast. I was in a state of panic, terrified that Democrats were destroying our country. When the pandemic hit, we needed leadership, but we were given almost nothing. It was a major betrayal to the country. So I finally stepped outside the MAGA echo chamber. I stopped listening to what Trump said and looked around with my own eyes. And I realized he had been lying about pretty much everything. Lying is Trump's toxic superpower. He's ripped apart families, communities, our whole country. So this is my message to all the Republicans and independents.
All right, guys, what we're trying to do now is we're going to try to find some live coverage of the protesters outside.
But it's never too late
so
to
bear
change your
with
mind.
us on that. And
You don't
we'll
need to
have that
agree
here in
with
just a
everything
few
you hear
minutes,
tonight
okay?
to do what is right. You need to be able to trust our leaders.
Please welcome California Representative Robert Garcia.
Thank you. Thank you. We all remember the world in 2020, where we were, and for some of us, who we lost. Now, I was in my second term as mayor of Long Beach, California. And my mom was a healthcare worker. Like many of you, I watched in terror and horror as the COVID pandemic consumed our lives. As mayor, I fought for more hospital beds, for more tests, and to make masks more accessible. What we needed at that moment was national leadership. But instead, we got Donald Trump. While schools closed and dead bodies filled morgues, Donald Trump downplayed the virus. He told us to inject bleach into our bodies. He peddled conspiracy theories across the country.
Good evening.
We lost hundreds of thousands of Americans and our economy collapsed. Now that summer of 2020, my mom and my stepfather both died of the COVID pandemic. And I miss them every single day. So when Donald Trump and his MAGA extremists like Marjorie Taylor Greene downplay the horror of the pandemic, it should make us all furious. Now, I will never forget when Kamala Harris called me after my parents died. She told me about her own story, about losing her own mother, and that she was praying for me at that very moment. Now, we all know that later that year, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were elected president and vice president. And what a difference they made together. They got people vaccinated. They got the virus under control. They safely reopened our schools. And they passed the American Rescue Plan. A historic economic package that helped small businesses and created jobs all across the country. Thank you, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Now, I am a proud immigrant who came to the United States as a young child. We grew up poor. English was our second language, and we often, like many immigrant families, struggled to get by. But my mom, she moved here to the United States because she believed in the American dream. I'll never forget the day that I became a United States citizen. I raised my right hand and I pledged an oath to protect and to love this country. It was the proudest day of my life. My mom taught me to love this country. She taught me that real American patriotism is not about screaming and yelling America first. Real American patriotism is loving your country so much that you want to help the people in your country. That is American patriotism. And we all know that Kamala Harris understands and knows this as well. Kamala Harris is ready to lead this country. We can all remember 2020. We can all remember the horrors of Donald Trump. But let's remember, most importantly, tonight and every single day this week, that we are not going back. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan from Kamala HQ, and we have a little game we like to play here called Two Lies and a Lie. We list out 3 things Donald Trump has said, and then we try to figure out if any one of them is true, which they're not. Let's play. First up, jobs. Trump claims his administration created more jobs than we ever had before. He says we had the greatest economy ever, and then we got hit with COVID, and he says he created a manufacturing jobs miracle. Let's dig in. More jobs than we ever had before? Trump lost 3 million jobs. In fact, he's the first president to lose jobs since Herbert Hoover. What about this claim that it was the greatest economy ever and only COVID tanked it? Once again, no. Let's take a look at his track record on jobs before COVID as compared to the Biden-Harris administrations. What do you know? Hardly the most successful ever. And about his supposed manufacturing miracle, Trump talked a big game, but actually lost 178,000 manufacturing jobs. And just to be clear, it wasn't just COVID here either. Manufacturing jobs were already on their way down before the pandemic. So that's round 1. And it looks like what we have here is 2 lies and another lie. You get the hang of it? I'll see y'all in a little bit.
Donald Trump downplayed COVID while Americans were living in fear. He lied about creating jobs while our communities were fighting to survive.
2008, we met while working on the Obama-Biden campaign. We found our way there because we believe in the power of organizing. Then we found each other. The day we brought second daughter home from the hospital, diagnosed with ALS. I was told I had 6 months to live. That was 7 years ago. We could not change Brian's diagnosis, but we knew how to organize. So we co-founded a nonprofit called I Am ALS. Thousands of terminally ill patients fought for new therapies, $1 billion to fund ALS research, and earlier access to treatments, all of which President Biden signed into law. We will also keep fighting alongside patients living with Parkinson's, young onset dementia, and Alzheimer's. We've seen just how relentless activism can beat the odds, just like what Brian has been doing for 7 years. And that is what we need right now to elect Kamala Harris. She's the daughter of a breast cancer researcher. She knows the promise of science and that patients need to be able to get the care they need wherever they live. We all want to make life better for the next generation and believe that people like Brian can be the first generation of survivors. And we can make life better for our caregivers too. Brian and I are still driven by hope and by faith in what we can do collectively, and that includes the power of our vote. This November, we are voting for our future. Because we plan to be around for it. Please welcome Illinois Senator Dick Durbin.
I've known Brian and Sandra for years. In fact, Sandra was my personal press secretary. You will not find a more courageous couple. Let's give Brian and Sandra another round of applause. In every election campaign, we Democrats talk about jobs. Now forget for a moment Donald Trump's wild claims. He lost millions of jobs in America. He promised to bring back manufacturing jobs, but he failed. He promised to deliver infrastructure, but he failed. His record was defined by failure. To put it another way, Donald Trump is like a bad boss. You want time off to take care of your sick parents? Ask Donald Trump. Denied. In Donald Trump's America, there is no paid family leave. Want to have a child, but need IVF? Too bad. That's shut down too. Want a pay raise? Too bad. The boss just gave himself one, so there's nothing left for you. Donald Trump reminds us of a boss we all had. The guy who thinks he's a very stable genius, but is driving the company into the ground.
Okay, y'all. I'm going to go over here for a moment. They're showing some live video of, and I'll keep monitoring that for what they bring on someone else. And, all right. Let's go over here. Let's get this refreshed. Just a minute, it's acting up. Alrighty, we're gonna get this refreshed. Okay, well, goodness gracious. One moment, y'all. We're going to get this figured out here. Hey, there I am. Right up front. Alrighty, 1 second, you guys. We're going to try to get this fixed here. Okay. I'm trying to find that live feed again that had the live protest happening. But it's not showing up all of a sudden. Okay. This was just a few moments ago. This is pre-recorded, so this wasn't updated recently. Alrighty, well, while we're waiting on that to occur, let's go ahead and pull this back up.
Of brilliance, legal expertise, and patience. You see, it's simple. JD and Trump like to talk about states like Ohio, but Kamala and Joe actually get stuff done for us. And so does our next vice president and my good friend, Governor Tim Walz. America, are you ready to build on our progress? Are you ready to turn out for leaders who know that action speaks louder than words? Are you ready to vote for Kamala Harris? Are you ready to put people over politics once and for all? Well, the era of joy and freedom is up on us. And now it is on us to go seize it. Thank you. God bless you.
Please welcome ABSU President Lee Saunders, SEIU President April Barrett, the National President Brett Booker, IBEW International President Ken Cooper, CWA President Claude Cummings, and AFL-CIO President Liz Schuler.
Union yes! Union yes! Union yes! Union yes! All right. I'm Lee Saunders, president of AFSCME, a union of 1.4 million public service workers in healthcare, corrections, sanitation, and more. 4 years ago, we faced a pandemic and a recession with a president who didn't care one bit what working people were going through. Enter Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Within weeks, they passed the American Rescue Plan, pulling the economy back from the brink and putting us back to work. They're guided by a basic principle: more freedom for working people, including the freedom to join a union. So this November, we're moving forward with Kamala Harris as our president.
I am April Barrett, and I am the president of SEIU, representing 2 million service and care workers. We're all in for Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris has always been all in for us. Vice President Harris joined fast food workers on the picket line, and she walked a day in the shoes of a home care worker. She shares our vision for a modern-day labor movement, a movement that meets the needs of workers in the 21st century, and an economy that is ready for the future. It is going to be together that we write new rules to make it easier for all workers to join a union. And we are going to build a younger, darker, hipper, fresher, sneaker-wearing labor movement. A movement that is going to be more inclusive and built for the middle class. And we are going to end poverty wage work for once and for all. So let's do the work. Let's elect Kamala Harris so that together we will usher in a new era of worker power, and together we will win the future. Let's go get it.
I'm Brent Booker, and I'm proud to represent LIUNA, the Laborers International Union of North America. We're construction workers, public employees, and postal mail handlers. For decades, we've fought for more investment in our infrastructure. While Trump made empty promises, the Biden-Harris administration delivered. Now we're rebuilding highways, bridges, and tunnels, and powering a clean energy and manufacturing boom. Thanks to them, our members can buy a home, put their kids through school, retire with dignity. As president, Kamala Harris will keep fighting for workers who are building America. I'm Kenny Cooper, representing 840,000 IBW members, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. The IBW powers America, from fire alarms to solar farms, nuclear plants to battery plants, storm restoration to power lines, and we've been doing it for over 130 years. Today, we're building a new energy future while providing great paying jobs and a stable retirement for all working families. Every step of the way, Kamala Harris has been there for us. She's bringing back American manufacturing to forgotten places throughout our country. She cast the deciding vote to save our pension plans. She's lifted our apprentices up all over the nation. And guess what? She's not afraid to use the word union. She has came through for all of us, and it's our turn to come through for her. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Claude Cummings, Jr., President of CWA, the Communication Workers of America. We all saw the digital divide during the pandemic. Millions of American families didn't have access to high-speed internet at home. Too many kids were forced to go online class in McDonald's parking lots. But as Vice President, Kamala Harris helped pass the largest investment in broadband ever. She gave CWA members a seat at the table so we could work to connect every household to the internet while creating good union jobs. Listen, we don't play at CWA. And we're fired up. Are you fired up tonight? Are you fired up? Are you fired up? We're fired up to work with our next president, Kamala Harris.
I'm Liz Schuler, president of the AFL-CIO. Representing nearly 13 million American workers. This election is about two economic visions. One where families live paycheck to paycheck, where people have no right to join a union. A CEO's dream, but a worker's nightmare. Or an opportunity economy, where we lower the costs of groceries, prescriptions, and housing. Where we go after big pharma, corporate landlords, and price gougers. Where there's no such thing as a man's job or a woman's job, or like Donald Trump would say, a black job. Just a good union job. That's the future our President Joe Biden has fought for. And that's the future Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will keep fighting for. Let's build it together.
Please welcome Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass.
As I am. I've known Kamala Harris for almost 20 years. Our bond was forged years ago by a shared commitment to children, a belief that it is everyone's responsibility to care for every child, no matter where they come from and no matter who their parents are. Kamala knows that each generation has an obligation
delegation to the next. That's why when I was Speaker of the State Assembly and she was a prosecutor, we fought to address youth homelessness and reform the child welfare system. We wanted to make sure that California's foster youth aren't cut off and left on their own the day they turn 18. As Attorney General, Kamala created our state's Bureau of Children's Justice and worked to give children in the juvenile justice system the support they needed. And when I asked her to swear me in, the first woman vice president, swearing in the first woman mayor of Los Angeles, we knew we were sending a message to young girls everywhere that they too can lead. Now, I know Kamala, and she feels the importance of this work in her bones. When Kamala meets a young person, you can feel her passion.